Get the
Now, your eyewitness weather forecast.
And a very good Monday evening to you once again. I'm meteorologist Jordan Reed. Unfortunately, we're going to be looking at some cooler temperatures continuing over the next couple of days, although we will see brighter conditions, especially during the day tomorrow, and less wind and warmer temperatures too. So the high today only 49 degrees, and that was after an overnight low of 44. So we only gained about 5 degrees temperature-wise today, and that was because of those warmer the clouds and the northwesterly wind. Mind you, the average low for this time of year right around 48 degrees, and the average high right around 70. So thankfully we'll be closer to the average high tomorrow by about 10 degrees, but still 10 degrees below average for this time of year. Right now 47, but with a westerly wind at 14 miles an hour, it feels like 41. And mind you, at this time last week, now we have wind chills. At this time last week, we were dealing with heat index values with temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s, and dew points making it feel even warmer than that. The dew point, by the way, is much lower. So that's the reason why you're going to be reaching for the lotion or that chapstick over the next couple of days, because it feels much drier than last week as well. Temperatures right now in the middle and upper 40s for most of us, but there are some exceptions to that, like off to the west in Syracuse, it's 50. Behind me in Albany, it's 52. And look at that, in Old Forge, it's only 39 degrees right now. So that's one of the areas that you're going to see some frost during the overnight hours, although you're not under an advisory for it. The radar right now, that is dry, so I will advise you of that. And as we take a look off toward the northeast and down toward the southwest, it's mainly dry with the exception of an area of low pressure spinning over southern Canada and northern Maine right now, sending some showers, and even unfortunately, as of May 19th, a little bit of snow in portions of Quebec at this time. Here closer to home, we do have a frost advisory in effect from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning for Oneida, Madison, Chenango, and Otsego counties. And even though temperatures will be in the middle and upper 30s, the thermometers are at about 5 or 6 feet above the ground, so temperatures at the surface will be even colder, and that's the reason why there's a frost advisory, even though temperatures won't be sub-freezing overnight tonight. So you'll definitely want to cover those plants or bring them inside, bring your pets inside as well. Temperatures bottoming out in the upper 30s to lower 40s, just depending on where you are, and then rebounding tomorrow much warmer than today, upper 50s to lower 60s. And we will see intervals of clouds and sunshine, but before that we'll have temperatures again in the 30s and 40s with a lot of clouds, starting the day tomorrow with a mix of sun and clouds, at times more clouds than sun, but temperatures still about 10 degrees warmer than today, and there will be less wind out there. So we'll take that while we can get it, because once we get through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we'll have temperatures still in the upper and middle 50s, but that does come with some rain. It looks like the worst of that is going to be on Thursday. Some of that will linger into Friday and Saturday as well, and at this point it looks like Memorial Day next Monday looks dry and in the upper 60s.
Thankfully, some dry weather in our future, a lot of cold weather, a little better than what we had going into last weekend. Speaking for myself, my AC's been out for the last week, so I'm definitely glad to have my apartment feeling a little cooler.
That's true. At least we're dealing with a wind chill, not a heat index anymore, so it probably feels a little bit cooler inside too.
If only we could keep it going for the whole summer.
Let's keep that for sure.
You're watching Eyewitness News at 6. We'll be right back.
News is brought to you by Nye Automotive Group. Come see why it's gotta be Nye. Now, your eyewitness weather forecast.
And welcome back to Eyewitness News. First at 10, I'm meteorologist Jordan Reed, taking a look at your eyewitness weather forecast, which includes some patchy frost possible during the overnight hours, but once we get into our Tuesday, we'll have less wind, more in the way of sunshine, and some warmer temperatures too. Let's take a look at the day that was, though, if we can right now. 49 degrees was that high temperature today, and the average low for this time of year right around 48 degrees, so that's only 1 degree above that. The low for this morning, by the way, was 44 degrees. So if we can take a look at that almanac, there we go, whenever we get a sec. Obviously not near the records of 32 and 92, but as far as current conditions go out there right now, it is 45 degrees. So frost not forming quite yet, but that'll change as we go through the next 3 or 4 hours or so. Temperatures across other parts of the region are into the 40s with the most part, but we have an exception to that. There's always that exception, right? 37 up in Old Forge right now. The rest of us, as I just mentioned, are down into the 40s. So I think Old Forge is going to be one of the first spots to see frost tonight if they're not seeing it quite yet. But the good news is that the radar is quiet. That's going to change, though, once we get past tomorrow and into Wednesday. And unfortunately, we have our second week in a row of dealing with prolonged severe weather event through the Midwest. Certainly keeping some good thoughts with our friends there with several flash flood warnings, tornado warnings, and severe thunderstorm warnings as well. And that's going to keep going even into the overnight hours. That's the most dangerous type of storms, are overnight storms. Here during the overnight hours, we're going to be dealing with a frost advisory for Oneida, Madison, Chenango, and Otsego counties in that lighter blue color from 2 a.m. tomorrow morning until 8 a.m. for temperatures between 32 and about 37 degrees in some isolated locations. So you'll obviously want to cover or bring in any sensitive plants and keep your pets inside. The reason why frost forms is because even though the air temperature, let's say, is right around 36 degrees, that's measured at about 4 to 6 feet above the ground at the thermometer, but cold air sinks, warm air rises. So at the ground, it could be as cold as 32, and of course there's water molecules in the air through a frozen surface, and freeze-forming ice crystals, that's the frost, and then the overnight hours will be dealing with clear skies, mainly clear skies and calm winds, so the best chances of frost are to the north and to the south. The reason why areas to the north are not under the frost advisory is because technically the growing and planting season doesn't start there for another week or two, late May, early June. As we go through the overnight hours, we'll see partly to mostly cloudy skies and temperatures again dipping into the 30s and 40s. And as we go through tonight, again, a few clouds, patchy frost, no rain though, winds out of the west-northwest 5 to 10, 39 degrees for the low. For tomorrow, we'll see more in the way of sunshine. Temperatures tomorrow about 10 degrees warmer than today, but still about 10 degrees cooler than average, which is around 70 degrees. We'll be around 59 again as we go through Wednesday, but rain returning later on in the day. Before that, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds. Thursday and Friday around 56. Thursday definitely looks like the wetter of those 2 days. And then as we go through the Memorial Day weekend, we not only brighten things up, but warm things up too.
And that'll certainly spell good conditions for any Memorial Day parades, ceremonies, anything that's happening over this weekend as people celebrate.
Absolutely. And not only will Monday be the brightest of those 3 days, but it also looks like the warmest and dry at the moment as well.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. The NCAA tournament is already...
Now, your eyewitness weather forecast.
And welcome back to Eyewitness News at 11. I'm meteorologist Jordan Reed, tracking some patchy frost as we go through the overnight hours and temperatures that will continue to be below average. Today was well below average. As you can see, the average high for this time of year, 70 degrees. We're actually closer to that average low of 48. Today's high, 49. And that low that you see of 43 degrees, that's actually occurring right now. This morning's low temperature was around 44. So we're not far from that, and we'll likely drop a few more degrees here during the overnight hours. Obviously not anywhere near the records of 92 or 32. So again, 43 degrees right now as of 10 minutes after 11 o'clock this evening, with a lot of clouds here in downtown Utica. No fog or anything like that, and no frost just yet, but that's going to change as we go through the next couple of hours. Most of us are into the 40s, but there are a couple of exceptions to that. It's always that except for, right? We've got 36 in Old Forge right now, and down to the south, Oneonta's at 39. And both of those areas will likely see frost forming if it hasn't done so already. But the good news is that the radar is dry, and that's going to continue to remain the case through the day tomorrow. But that changes as we get into Wednesday, thanks to this storm system here. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a lot of flash flood, severe thunderstorm warnings, and several tornado warnings. And that's unfortunately the second week in a row that we've been dealing with that. Thankfully, we won't be dealing with anything like that in terms of severe weather here in our area, but back closer to home, we are dealing with a frost advisory in effect for Oneida, Madison, Chenango, and Otsego counties from 2 a.m. till 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if you're not just in those areas, but really anywhere here in central New York, you want to bring in or cover any sensitive plants and keep your pets inside, because it is going to be quite chilly during the overnight hours. And how can frost form? You might be wondering if it's above 32 degrees. Well, even though the air temperature reads around 36 to 39 overnight tonight, that's measured at about 5 feet off the ground. But of course, we know warm air rises, cold air sinks, and the ground temperature will likely be around 32 degrees thanks to those water molecules in the air and through a frozen surface. And that's what causes ice crystals or the frost to form. We'll have mainly clear skies with light winds and moisture in the air, temperatures in the 30s. Of course, the best chances for frost tomorrow morning will be to the northeast and down toward the southwest of the Mohawk Valley. The reason why the Adirondacks are not under a frost frost advisories because technically the growing and planting season doesn't start for another week or two. Temperatures again during the overnight hours into the 30s and 40s under partly to mostly cloudy skies, and tomorrow we'll see more intervals of clouds than the sunshine, and temperatures will still be about 10 degrees warmer than today, but about 10 degrees cooler than average for this time of year. But again, we'll take what we can get. 39 overnight tonight, a few clouds, patchy frost, and 59 for tomorrow with that cool sunshine, a southeasterly breeze at 10 to 15. Still less than today, but Wednesday is 59, and once again, we'll start the day with a mix of sun and clouds, and then end the day with some rain, and then Thursday and Friday, 56 both days. Thursday looks like the wetter of those 2 days. Some of that rain will linger into Saturday, but we dry things out and warm things up as we head through the Memorial Day weekend.
We're definitely looking forward to those warmer temperatures, especially the dry conditions for those parades and those commemorative ceremonies.
Yeah, it does look drier and also warmer, still below average, but of course the warmest out of the next 7 days is Memorial Day, so I think we'll take that for all our barbecues and the parades that you just mentioned.
We'll take what we can get. Thanks, Jordan. Coming up next on Eyewitness News.